Like everybody else, I've been watching some of the top beauty YouTubers kind of implode in he said, she said drama, cattiness, name calling, all of that business last week. And I wanted to kind of put my 2 cents in on the tea, but I don't drink tea, I drink coffee. So let's just call it a beverage. I'm gonna put my 2 cents on the beverage. So for those of you that don't know, one of the main beauty community cliques, which includes Laura Lee, Gabriel Zamora, who else? Nikita Dragon and Manny MUA. They got into some really hot water for Gabriel Zamora posting a kind of subtweet that was directed at Jeffree Star. So in response, based on my understanding of the situation, some Jeffree Star fans started going back on all of their tweets and kind of discovering all of the racist, tacky jokes that they made, 2, 3, 4 to 8 years ago. So to be clear, I'm going to talk about the racism at the end of this video, but first I want to kind of get into the meat of what's going on with the various issues in the beauty community as far as I can tell. So the clique was primarily Manny MUA, Laura Lee, and Jeffree Star, and I think Nikita Dragon to some extent, but that's kind of unclear for me. But at some point, Jeffree Star ended up kind of getting away from the clique because of some sort of disagreement or fight. I have no idea. I don't keep up that well with all this business. And I want to be clear, describing the actual breakdown of the friendship or the clique is not fun for me. I think it's kind of ridiculous, and I don't think that any of it should have been done in the public. And also, it's just none of my business. Like, I don't care if people stop being friends with each other. It makes no difference to me unless those people are my friends. What does matter is the very public nature of beauty influencer relationships with each other and the nature of these public kerfuffles that are childish, immature, unprofessional, and kind of pointless. And also my concern with beauty influencers' ability to maintain dignity in their personal relationships and in their breakups, essentially, because that is what this friendship separation was. It was like a breakup of sorts. I haven't seen this kind of shit since high school or like my early 20s. And as you can imagine, brands are dropping these guys left, right, and center. Well, except Jeffree Star, because he has his own thing going on. I don't know if you've heard of it. And subscribers have dropped from everyone's count except for Gabriel Zamora's because he, it seemed, put together a very heartfelt and honest apology, which obviously people are going to feel good about. So when I started taking an interest in the beauty community, like almost a decade ago, and I'm dating myself here, there didn't really seem to be any cliques. Like maybe I just wasn't privy to the fact that there were cliques, but the scene was so small and so intimate that it really seemed like people kept their to themselves and that it was all about the love, all about the art, all about the fun of playing with makeup and, showing other people techniques and products. And any of the other drama that came around was mainly on an individual level based on what people did that pissed people off. It wasn't like group dynamics. This friendship broke up, now let's all talk about it for 3 or 4 months and wonder what happened. I'm not saying that it was perfect, because nothing is ever perfect and people will always behave poorly to some degree. It's just the nature of humanity, unfortunately. But it was a good sight, more professional, more honest, more open, and more of a positive experience until moneyed interests started entering the picture and things became more about cult of personality and crews or subscribers, whatever you want to call it. And this has made for a situation that's just ugly, unprofessional, beyond embarrassing for anyone who wants to be a part of the beauty community, because this is the stuff that gets publicized. This bullshit that's happening right now gets publicized and gets the most play because negativity always gets the most media attention. When this is what the public sees, the drama, infighting, racism, and all around pointlessness of negative interactions with each other and kind of cattiness about how people are subtweeting or talking about people in videos, we all lose. And it seems like the fast rise of these young YouTube stars has not afforded them the ability to grow into their status and to learn to have some sort of tact with regard to these kind of negative experiences with other influencers. And especially with regards to releasing your private information in a public way without, hanging someone else up to dry. Furthermore, because of the moneyed interest of brand and promotional deals, I feel like, and this is just my opinion, I feel like the way people interact with their subscribers has become really dishonest and has made subscribers not really trust influencers. So that creates less of a, hey, I'm talking to you about makeup and we all like this and I want to give you the information you need to make purchasing choices, rather than I'm a cult of personality and you're mainly following me to see what kind of nonsense I get into or like what kind of drama I'm talking about. So in this way, you get less of a thinking audience and more of a show parade based on like two warring factions essentially, and who's going to come out on top, who looks the best in this like super negative light. So as influencers, I think we all have a responsibility to our subscribers to not stir up drama on people, to not get people involved in fights that aren't useful to any degree, but as a sideshow. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not curing cancer here. We're not solving any, political crisis. We're providing an outlet of joy and art and beauty to people who have an interest in it. So I find it to be really immoral and fucked up that so many people stir up fights that end up with subscribers doxing other people's families, infighting, threatening people, harassing them on a regular basis, whether through Twitter or through, Facebook or YouTube or anything else, just because they have personal problems with each other. Call out or call in culture can be useful when you're working against people who have a position of power and are irresponsible with it. And I am not against that. I think, if you're talking about something that is important and someone could do something to fix it, but they're not doing it or they're directly hurting other people, I feel like that is a useful thing to do. Call them out. But if you're using that call out culture to get your subscribers in a tizzy about a petty grievance that you have with another influencer, your moral compass is f***ed. So now with regards to the racist tweets, the inappropriate jokes, the things said in a joking manner, but that are completely unacceptable, that is never going to be okay, and I think we can all agree on that. But I can't help but notice that a lot of these users who are coming to bat over the racist comments that were said however long ago have a solid history of making racist comments themselves or making inappropriate and hurtful comments themselves. Should we call out this shit? Absolutely. Call it out where you see it, because people need to be reminded that is not okay. And anytime you see a joke that says things like this, it's hurting somebody, and that's just not acceptable. You don't gotta hurt somebody to make a joke, and if you do, then you're bad at jokes. But let's be clear, everyone in the USA, in the grand old USA, regardless of race, class, education, has been guilty at some point of saying some fucked up that is irresponsible, racist, classist. Ain't nobody innocent. None of us. I'm not innocent either. If you think about it, a lot of this has been programmed into us. So it's all of our responsibility to police ourselves and to remind others that this is not okay. But here's the deal. If you're going to police somebody else and tell them that their is not okay, it's only performative wokeness if you don't actually call out your own shit and apologize for it. And there's nothing that I hate more than woker than now assholes. It makes everyone who's working to create a more positive and equal society for all people look like assholes, because you're calling out on something that you do and haven't apologized for. Now, I personally know that I am responsible for making jokes that are completely unacceptable, and I've been working really, really hard to change the way that I react to specific things, because I know that I live in a culture that is racist, classist, and, generally not equal for people who are not white, able-bodied, and heterosexual. I get that. It's not complicated. So I totally accept that I will continue to say f***ed up shit, get called on it, and try to better myself. It's an uncomfortable process, but it's something that has to happen. I don't want you to stop calling people out for saying shitty things. I just want you to think about how you are, in fact, participating in those shitty things that you're calling out. We can make our community so much better, so much more inclusive and beautiful if we just think about the way that we're approaching it. So to be clear, I understand if people of color, if the LGBTQA community, if minorities or oppressed people decide not to forgive these people, decide that they would rather just avoid them because they don't want to constantly be in contact with things that are problematic and really hurtful. Totally get that. But if you are a white person who has made really horrible jokes and you see someone that made those same horrible jokes 8 years ago and you refuse to forgive them without looking at your own past, that's f***ed up, basically. So yeah, if someone keeps making the same mistakes, call them out and be like, yeah, you're canceled. But this canceled culture for things that happened years and years and years ago and things that you do too is not okay. You know, people are gonna make mistakes and hopefully people learn from them. And it's a little bit ridiculous to hold someone to a higher standard than you hold yourself. So let's all be better. Everyone. Let's never make racist, hurtful, or ignorant jokes. And if we do, let's always apologize for them right off the bat. Let's always say, I f***ed up, I did this, I'm going to do better. And leave it at that. No explanation, no, oh, I was a different person then. Just say you're sorry, admit that you made a mistake, and move on with your life, and don't make the mistake again. Anyway, that's my rant for today. And that was a long one. It went all over the place. Sorry about that. So I know that I usually don't make beauty commentary drama videos. So I hope you guys, bear with me. If you didn't want to see this, then I hope you just clicked past it. If you are interested in this kind of stuff, I don't do this kind of material on a regular basis. This is just how I felt about the specific situation that is blowing up all over the internet. So if you came here looking for more drama commentary and that kind of stuff, I'm just not the right place for you. But if you chose to stay and you're interested in other kinds of content, you can always subscribe, click the little bell to get a message every single time I release a new video. You can find me elsewhere at OjoLeeXOX, and that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that business. And, comment on what you think about this whole thing. I think a lot of it is convoluted, a lot of it is really irresponsible and childish, and to me, it smacks of people who don't have a lot of experience in this kind of situation. Like, friend breakups can be super messy, and it's hard to know what to do. It is. Like, I know that I've been through a few breakups, friend breakups, all of that situation, dramatic moments, especially in my early 20s, where I did not behave appropriately, I think. I did not behave with tact, and I certainly didn't behave with dignity toward myself and toward the other person. So I think it is a worthwhile lesson for these people to learn. I just hope they actually learn from it and the whole beauty community learns from this mess, because it is a mess. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time. Mwah.